Hi, my name's Tom Marks. Welcome to another PlayStation 2 programming livestream. Today we're going to be investigating the wonderful world of multi-threaded code on the PlayStation 2. And the reason we're going to do this, well, let me show you. I've got a game that I'm building that runs on real PlayStation 2 hardware. So if I pull up my PlayStation 2, let's get ready to run the game. And you'll see there's a bit of a problem. When we try, because my game world is broken up into lots of small chunks, when we try and load in a chunk, it just takes a long time. And that is really bad. That's bad because it means that the world just stops, because that code's only got one thread. So if we say, hey, read this file, and reading that file takes 5 seconds, then we just have to pause the game for 5 seconds. It's a really bad experience. So our first loading zone is going to be, well, I mean, first off, these are how slow the load times are, right? This is loading like a couple of really quite small files into VRAM. Okay, here we go. So here's our little game world, right? We've got a little character. We can move around. And once I go through this little opening here, we're going to hit a loading zone. And when we hit that loading zone, the game's going to freeze. So if I kind of jump, you're going to see that I just get stuck in place, right? And we're loading. We're going to load some more. And some more. And there we go. We're back, right? So that kind of sucks. You don't want the game world to just stop while we load stuff in. So how do we do this? What's it going to look like? And let me just reset the PS2. Cool. Okay, so what's it going to look like if we want that to not happen? What do we need? And we need a couple of things. Cool. We need a couple of things. So, right now our game loop looks like this. We have our main loop, and this runs forever. And every frame it's going to draw, and then it's going to update. And then in update, there's kind of like a subtask that runs, which is if collide load zone, then we're just going to load a level. Cool. So all this happens in the one main loop. So if this takes a bunch of time, we don't go on to the next draw and update until after it's done. So what we want is, instead of just having this, we want to take this out of the main loop. We want to pick up this little subtask out of our main update. Most of update's going to stay here. And we're going to put this over into something else, into some kind of, we'll call it task runner. Okay, and our task runner is going to have a couple of threads that are capable of loading any of these. Maybe just one at first. Maybe we'll just start with one thread. That might make more sense. That might make more sense. Or it might not make more sense. We probably want to build it with the idea that it could have many. So the idea with Task Runner is, each one of these things, they're going to wake up. If they have a task, if there's a task to pick up, if there's a task in the queue, then run task. Where a task can be something like load a level X. Now, loading a level is going to get more complicated because we're going to have to make sure that we're not clobbering our own work. So we have our context, right? And our context owns a couple of levels. At the moment, only 2. And we're going to need to put locks on these levels. Right? So if we're modifying this level in any way, we all reading it really, is this a read-write lock, or is this just a... I think if we're reading it in any way, we need to try and get this lock. So when we're loading a level, we're going to first lock the level. If we can't lock the level, we can't load data into it. Similarly, when we're updating and drawing, if we can't lock the level, we don't do it. So we're going to have 2 types of lock. Here we're going to have a lock that waits, a lock where we try and lock the resource, and if we can't lock it, we're going to keep trying until we get the lock. Whereas in our draw and update, we're going to interact with these locks, but we're going to do it in a different way, where if we can't get the lock, we're just going to ignore that level. We're going to pretend it doesn't exist. Cool, excellent. So that means that we could have holes in our game world, right? If we're loading a level and we've moved to the spot where we should be able to see that level and it's still loading, we're just not going to see anything. But that's okay. That's okay. That just means we have to design our game world better, right? To force people through little choke points to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's pop out chat real quick because we've got a couple of people trickling in we want to say hello to. Where are we? We want to go here. We want to go here. Vector Spectre, yeah, just watching one of my videos, amazing. The universe knew. The universe was like, you need more Tom Marks Talks code in your life, and here I am. Bobbius, yeah, the YouTube's a bit behind. I'm about 5 streams behind, I think. But the good news is that none of it is going to be particularly relevant to what I'm doing today. Actually, just to quickly show off something I did do, a run. Let me just make sure I have a controller. I did build this off camera, a little menu where I can print out the stats so you can see the percentage of VRAM used currently. I also added a global VRAM segment and heap so that we can load common resources in like fonts, which is cool. So this is good. This works pretty well. It does submenus. None of these options actually do anything yet, but these are going to be toggles for debug draw for things like drawing loading zones. And then there's also a reload button where you can reload the currently active levels. There's a glitch in the drawing. Do you mean that this character gets cut off because the UVs, or do you mean that the characters aren't aligned properly? Because the characters not being aligned properly is a problem with the font, I think. This is a really jank font. I'm going to use a better font. But yeah, the W being cut off is a UV calculation issue. There's an article about this that I need to reread, but basically I need to add some mysterious offset. So like, the way the PlayStation 2 rasterizer does pixel interpolation, yeah, jank kerning, kerning. That's good. That's good. You got me. Okay, so I'm in, what branch am I in? I think I'm in a font branch. We're just gonna merge font in. That's gonna fast forward. Okay, so threads. Now, I was looking because there's an example somewhere. And I was like, great, I'll start the stream, I'll pull this up. And now I can't find it, which is really funny. Just really, really funny. So I wanted to find this multi-threading example, and I was sure it was in PS2 SDK. But PS2 SDK might actually not have a multi-threading example. Like thread stack size, thread priority, but this is network stuff. This is IOP stuff. Thread preempt count. So like, no, that's an IOP thread. The hard thing searching for this stuff is there's a lot of stuff about IOP threads. Get run started. This is IOP. This is IOP. We don't want IOP. libc glue. Okay, so there's a bit of stuff there. IOP. That's not what I want. A lot of IOP threads. A lot of IOP threads. So fast I'd navigate this window. Also, yeah, Vector says Jank Koenig sounds like the name of a Star Wars character. True. Very true. Very true. Oh dear. This is the one. This is the one. Kernel source thread. Okay, that's what I want. Kernel source thread. Excellent. Okay, so request top arg. This might still be Sif stuff. Is this still Sif? ESM? No, this is a motion engine. Okay, good. Thread func. Top thread. Wait, semaphore. Okay. Stack size. This is good. So we need to hopefully find an example of this stuff being used, but just use these functions. It shouldn't be too bad, right? Start thread, top ID, top arg, top. I need to stop pasting that in. Create thread, init thread. Now, is this cool? See, and this is what I'm not totally sure about, right? Is this called from a thread? I think it's called... I'm not sure. This creates a new thread, I assume. Wake up thread, cannot wake threads in THS run state. Rotate thread ready queue. Cool. So we've got some useful stuff here. Except create thread is not defined here. Where's create thread defined? Ah. Of course. Create thread. This returns. J31, that's just a return. But this is not a return. What? I don't know why these are different. Okay. And this is IOP. No. That's not what I want. Create main thread. Create thread. Maybe this is a syscall. Now we can check that. PS2 tech create thread. Yes. Ah, so this number is the syscall number, right? Hex 20. Thread param creates a thread in dormant state. Thread is not okay. This is good. This is good. So what we want, we basically want to just make a new test file here, a new main. And we want to call it something like, let's just call it thread.c. Feels silly defining argc and argv for this function because there's literally no way to get them or no way to set anything to them with how I run PlayStation 2 code, but that's okay. That's okay. I just spilled tea. Wonderful. Fun. Okay, so what we want is some code that's going to make a thread, and let's say we have some run thread function that's going to do something. Let's say static int I equals 0. Let's say when we run the thread, we'll increment I. That sound good? That sounds like a good way to test a thread. And then if we can create a thread and run it, so create thread, run thread, sleep the main thread, and then finally printf I equals I. And then we're going to say while 1 loop forever. And we're going to do that because if this program ends, we're going to fall through out to the PlayStation 2 system browser, and our console output is going to get buried in a bunch of other shit that the PlayStation 2 system browser prints out. So we're gonna busy loop forever, and then we're going to say return 0 because the compiler likes it when the main function returns. Cool. Okay, so let's try doing some stuff. Let's just try using these and see what happens. I think that's the best way to go. Thread.c. So what does this do? Stack equals stack. Where does stack come from? Stack. What is stack? Stack is this. UA. So this is... Wait, this must be called... Because this... This is hard-coded. This function can't be right. This has to be called once by, I guess, the top thread, right? The main thread, I assume. Init thread. And maybe this sets up things for other threads running. Does that make sense? I guess that makes some sense. Let's grep for it. RNI. Where else does this get called? Init thread kernel. Okay, well, so maybe we should read kernel readme.md. That's pretty good. Include init sys. I suspect init sys is called in multiple places, or as in it's called in every program. That's my assumption, and it looks like it's called in the C runtime in startup. So yeah. So we don't call thread init. That's my conclusion. Okay, this folder creates libkernel A, which contains all the references to BIOS functionality. You have heard that the PS2 BIOS is full of bugs. Wonderful. On a blocker. Cool. Centering initialization. There's lots of PlayStation 2 games. If you ever reverse engineer a PlayStation 2 game, one thing you'll find is it system call 50H? There's a... maybe it's not 50H. What is it? There's one to remap, right? There's one to remap system calls, and so sometimes they'll just remap things that are broken. Like, there are lots of games that on startup essentially patch the BIOS, because that's the only way the PlayStation 2 could update the BIOS, if a game on startup chose to do it, because this is the Wild West. There's nothing to, you know, stop a game doing that. The PlayStation 2 doesn't care. Where is it? 74. Replaces an entry on the syscall table with the specified address. This function does not perform balance checking. So yeah, you'll see a lot of this when games start up. They say we patched the BIOS. Yeah, exactly. So PS2 SDK has the option to do it. There's actually a version of libkernel.a that does not have the patches, and they patch it in a different way. Well, they do a combination of things. So they have wrappers in the middle, but lots of PlayStation 2 games are just like, oh, you're doing syscall 13, actually call my function instead. That's... I guess that might be what this is doing, but I'm not totally sure. I think there's two layers of it here. It's this function. Yeah, the way this does it looks a little bit different, I think. Tiny sizes. Offering the possibility to disable functions called during a nitsys. Yes, cool. Patch functionality. Yeah, so you probably don't want to get rid of these if you're doing anything with alarms threads, calling other binaries, or TLB. Not that anyone ever actually uses the TLB, but I guess just in case. Cool. Disable patched functions. Extra timers. Yeah, nice. Okay. That didn't really help the way I wanted it to. Oh, that's what attribute weak does. That's good to know. But yeah, this is a cool way to do it, where you can just override it. I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to imagine you have a game console and a game runs, and on run, it decides to patch the BIOS. Like, these days, unthinkable. Actually unthinkable. I guess homebrew stuff is always a little bit different and a little bit more jank. But, I mean, that's not quite as bad as Ratchet and Clank 3 basically having their own remote code execution built in for when you connect to like online servers. Cool. So basically we want to call create thread. And there's no wrapper for this. It's not even defined in a header. Okay, so what I want to do is search for a use of it. Because that's going to tell me a lot. And I want it to be an EE. Yeah, so what's this? EE kernel include kernel.h. EE kernel include kernel.h. This structure right here. This is what I want to call. These are our syscalls. EE thread T. EE thread T. Here we go. Important offsets. Option officially documented to not work. That's cool. That's really cool. So let's try creating a thread. EE thread. Which, by the way, I talk about this every now and then, but I'm pretty sure according to POSIX, you shouldn't define your own types that have the _T suffix. I think. Is that a real rule? Or do I hallucinate that every couple of months? Thread. So we have .status equals. I'm going to need my hardware manuals as well. And I think this is EE user manual, not EE core, but I could be wrong. Okay, nope. EE. Also not here. Core EE overview users. Oh gosh. Core instruction set. Core. Oh, core users. Sorry, hold on. This is. No thread dockers. Nothing. Zip. I don't know where the BIOS docs are. Okay, maybe there's no docs. Maybe we're gonna have to make it up, and that's okay. Oh, literally right underneath here is the thread status definition. So let's try putting it in run mode. THS run. That was a fun side quest. I regret everything. Let's say the func is gonna be run thread. This might need arguments, I don't know. I don't know what the signature should look like. This is unopinionated, which is great. Stack now. We need to give it somewhere to use as a stack. So let's do this thing as well. Stack unsigned car. Let's make it 400, just like the example that I'm copying from. Stack size. GP reg. Now, this is hard. Reg. Let's just try setting the GP register to 0 and see what happens. Initial priority is wait status, thread status. Thread status T. Status func stack. I guess this is maybe like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what the difference between this is. Okay, so we're gonna make up a priority number, and we're gonna say it has a priority of 7. And maybe we'll say current. Let's leave current priority blank, just to be sure. And we'll leave adder blank as well. Okay, so this is a thread. bring the funk. I'm away. That's the story of my life. That's my favorite thing to do, actually. So we're gonna call create thread. We're gonna give it this. I don't know if this is right, but we're gonna find out pretty soon. And I think this gives back a thread ID. So S32 TID. And then let's say start thread. Now sleep thread. Now we're gonna have to go back to PS2 text. Sleep thread. Wake up count greater than 0. Let's run already. Sure, let's just call sleep thread. And maybe this is gonna sleep forever. And then because the other thread never sleeps. Oh yeah, hold on, we should probably do more work here. While 1. We'll try this. So, oh boy, if platform is PC, let's make a rule for it. Let's say thread test actually no, we don't need anything else. EE inks. Now we also need to look at this makefile EE global. We want this. We need this whole thing plus y. Oops. out, we want this, and then we want everything except we want the target. I always forget my makefile magic. EE obj. Cool, that should work, I think. Test thread. Thread test. Okay, thread test. Cool, now we've got some implicit declarations, and that's okay because I didn't include any headers. So you'd kind of expect that. Include kernel.h, maybe? Kernel dot. Yeah, kernel.h, no such file. Let's look at the command that gets run here. All of our EE objects, that actually we probably don't want, but that's okay. Lib, am I including anything? No. Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense, because normally, by the time we get here, we don't need anything to be included. So first off, we don't need that. And then we just need EE inks. We need the includes as well. There we go. And let's make this from the actual make c source thread, and let's spell test correctly. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. So either EE or IOP must be defined. Let's define that. We're building this in a Jank unsupported way. Oops. We have to define that first. Cool, cool. That was sick. Fumbling around with makefile rules. Main expected. Ah, yes. Equals. You need an equals sign. Always have an equals sign. Too few arguments to call start thread. That makes sense as well because start thread needs args. So let's say 0. We say no. I reject args. Implicit declaration of printf stdio.h. Okay, we got something. We got something. Let's see what happens when we run it. I'm nervous. We need, okay, so it's just pcsx2qt pwd source thread test. What's it gonna do? It crashes. That's something at least. Sick as hell. Thank you. Thank you. I hope there's no irony here that I'm missing, but thank you. That yeah, that's pretty cool. It's cool, weird stuff. Okay, what happened here? What happened here? Let's dump everything out into game.log because this is my favorite file in the world. Okay, so we go down here. Everything gets initialized. That's good. That's good. Did we just not find the file correctly? Is it just not a binary? 32-bit LSB, MIPS 3, N32, statically linked, debug info not stripped. That all looks okay. So why isn't this launching? Let's do this thing. Let's do it this way instead. Let's not do it this way instead. That sucks. What's going on here? What is going on? PWD EE bin. Give it the whole path. Okay. Failed to get elf name. Failed to find the primary volume descriptor. That sounds bad. That would explain why it's loading straight into the browser, which is the backup. Failed to get elf name. And then it looks like it's gonna rebooting. ROM directory not found. Then it reboots because it freaks out. Okay. So it's never loading the elf. Not allowing fast boot for a non-PS2 elf. It's a weird thing to look at programming as entertainment. There's a competitive element that makes it compelling. It's like I'm battling against the computer, literally. That has been my PlayStation 2 dev experience. It is a war raging on my computer, right? And it's also fun, especially with the kind of homebrew stuff. It's like, you know, who can do the coolest thing, right? Who can do the most interesting thing? Dev Brian C, thank you very much for following. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying this very strange multi-threading stream. It's the essence of a video game. Yeah. I definitely see that, right? Like, what makes it interesting is the fact that it's so hard. Okay, so I'm gonna clean everything, and I'm gonna remove this thread test binary, and I'm gonna rebuild it from nothing. And that looks okay. That looks like a real compile. So then if I PCSX Qt pwd source thread test, and it yells at me. Here's another thing I want to do, and I know this isn't gonna do anything, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I'm just gonna put some X's in there so that I can search. Let's do 3 hashes, 2 hashes, $2 hashes. I'm putting a distinct pattern in so I can search for it in the logs. Now if I build this and run it, I should be able to verify that it never actually hits anything. So let's go grep. What did I do? Let's just open it up. Less game.log. And then we're going to search hash. I can't remember if that's a special character. Okay, so these are the only instances of hashes in the whole file. So we're pretty confident that my hello world did not get printed. That's good news. So there's something in the actual building of this binary that's gone wrong. And it's probably because I had to define EE up here. That feels a little bit wrong. That feels more than a little bit wrong. AS flags .s.c C flags inks. Yeah, well let's include the C flags because we have actually missed those out of this build. EE redefined. There we go. Okay, so EE is gone. And we get the same thing. Oh, that's so frustrating. That's so frustrating. Like, this shouldn't be the hard part, right? This shouldn't be the hard part. Okay, so. We can do this. We can do this. This shouldn't be the hard part. Okay. What could possibly be making this not run? Why does this look different to another main? I guess here's another thought. If I get rid of everything and I just do this, like, it's still not going to run. Right? It's still going to die. And so that's good to know because, God, it's always the little things with the PlayStation 2 that trip you up. Okay. Thread.makefile. We're going to use a different makefile. This is the new strategy. Because I can never work out exactly what makes this tick. libs. Hold on. We're not including L kernel. And I don't know why we're not being warned about that, but we're not including the kernel, which is probably a problem. Okay, so this is why. This is why we put it in a new file. We go to this file. We're gonna copy. Well, we're gonna copy some of these rules. So we're gonna the obj and the bin and the libs. This is what we need to define. Obj equals. We're gonna have thread.o. The bin is gonna be called thread test.o. We're not going to include anything else, and the only thing we should need is L kernel. And now this should just build when we say make thread test. So we're going to make C source test and we need to give it a -f as well, I think. It still isn't working for some reason. I guess I need to put this down here. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. That might help. Including the kernel might help. I'm doing this from scratch for the sake of challenge instead of building off of existing code. Kind of. Not many people have built much for the PlayStation 2 because it's so hard. Like, I thought there was a threading example I could copy from, and then I just couldn't find it. So I'm doing this instead. Okay, that's good. That's really good. Now, that might have actually worked that time, but also maybe it didn't. What am I doing wrong? What? What? Why is this? Why can't I even build a hello world all of a sudden? Like, it's kind of maddening. Failed to get the... So this is a path issue, right? This is because of how I'm running it. Right? Oh, wait, hold on. Didn't I work out? Didn't I work out that I had to, like, call it .elf or something? Yeah, that'd be it. Oh, how does that happen again? I don't know why PCSX2 is like this. Hold on, so let's go back. Let's go back. Oh my god. Why does it care about the name? Okay, so... pwd source thread test.elf. Nice. That runs. That runs and that hangs forever, exactly as we intended. You haven't been able to find any PS2 source code. There are leaks of commercial games. They're out there. They're on like archive.org and stuff. But I'm not looking at them because I don't want to get DCMA'd. DMCA'd. Digital Millennium DMCA'd. Yeah. But yeah, the PS2 is an interesting system, which is why I'm doing this. And it's fun learning about it from scratch and doing stuff the hard way. Okay, so... thread.c. Let's printf... Let's print some stuff out. Let's print some stuff out when we start, and then we'll say... We'll do this the stupid way, where we'll see a lot of noise and interference, but that's kind of what I want, potentially, if I start running more threads, to see that, you know, things clobber each other and they don't cooperate. Okay, well there we go. So there's some stuff. So TLB miss. A TLB miss is like a seg fault on a normal PC. But on a PlayStation 2, there's nothing to kind of like handle a seg fault. So it's just like, hey, this isn't a real address, I'm gonna die. Or at the very least, you have to kind of write your own handler for it. So 104 EC8. I don't know where 104 EC8 comes from, but I suspect that I shouldn't be, referencing memory this low. 104 EC8. So we can open up the debugger and have a look at what that is. Jump to cursor. 104 EC8. What function? Is this in main? Is this in... So this looks a lot like someone else's code. None of my code compiled into this program is this big. I wrote 103, not 104. Thank you. 104 EC8. Ah, this is my code. sprint. Okay, so 104 EC8. When we try and load something relative to the stack. So when we print here, it's yelling out. Now, what's weird is, right, this yells at me, presumably in sprint, but it still works. We're still incrementing I. So, Also, what if I just put a sleep thread in here? What happens then? Keeps running. Cool. Okay. Okay. So it's a stack issue, right? So what if I make the stack bigger? No? The other thing is, what if I make it not static? That's another thought. And it helps if I rebuild. Helps if I rebuild before doing this. Let's add a makefile rule, because I'm going to continue to forget doing that. Thread test.elf. And we're going to say pcsx2 qt shell pwd thread test.elf. There we go. Okay, so now I can just say make thread test thread test make thread test. Cool. Target pattern contains no thing. I'm going to see a choir performance today, and someone's going to pre-book tickets for me. You can't help with makefile stuff. That's okay. That was just because I was running the wrong makefile. This, however, is a bit more esoteric. 34. Huh. Oh, that's because I put an extra colon in. That'll do it. Okay, now this goes to sleep like you would expect. But now all our threads are asleep. Oh, I bet it's a thread. I bet it's an overflow. Hold on. So, no, but why would the stack overflow? That doesn't make sense. Well, I is less than 100, let's say. And then we go to sleep. No issue. What if we go to 1,000, right? When do the errors start? When do the TLB misses start? Or was it just the stack wasn't big enough? What if I make it hex 200? Now we have these TLB misses. Okay, so the stack needs to be some certain minimum size, I guess. 400 is pretty small for a stack. That makes sense. So we're doing we're not really doing multi-threading. We've made a thread that we're running, and then we're never waking this thread up. So what we need is an alarm. Okay, so wake up thread. So if we're gonna sleep a thread, we need to try waking up a thread again. reschedule. Does not force a reschedule. Internally used by wake up thread. Cancel resets a thread wake up count to 0. And we can suspend a different thread and resume a different thread. Sorry, why did I jump up there? That was weird. Huh? Okay. Alarm. Using Search School games first. So this is what games do. There it is. And PS2 SDK. Copy a patch. Wow. Incredible. Patches the interrupt handler. Cool. So set alarm. There it is. Jank Kerning would know what to do. Always. So what does set alarm do? What does it do? How do I use set alarm? What does an alarm do? I assume it wakes up a thread, right? But that's a big assumption to make. Set alarm. What do you? Give me a shred of documentation, please. None of these are documented. Can someone please tell me what set alarm does? Okay, here's the other thing. grep RNI set alarm. Find me a use of it, please. Set alarm. There it is. Kernel glue. That sounds pretty nice. Set alarm internal. Is there an example? Timer alarm. Okay. Test alarm. Here we go. Oh, it takes a callback to run. I can't read. You're correct. Reading's hard. Takes a callback to run. Set timer alarm. User callback. What's user callback? User callback is this. Arg equals 1. It sets a flag. Cool. Okay. Okay. So if I've got a callback, so I just want to sleep. So I want to say void wake up. And it's gonna take, so this gives it, hold on, where'd I go? Where's my, this one? Void. Okay, so let's say int thread ID. We just want to wake up a thread. So what am I'm passing it a clock. So set alarm SEC2 timer bus clock. And then we're gonna give it wake up. I don't think I need to put, I think functions are implicitly turned into function pointers, maybe. Brian JIDC, am I an expert? No. I'm doing things the dumb way, and I'm learning by doing. I know a lot about programming. I've been programming for a really long time, but PlayStation 2 stuff specifically, my biggest strength is that I can read the docs. Let's say that. Right? If you want to get anywhere in PlayStation 2 programming, work on your ability to read documentation, and that will do you well. Cool. So basically, we're going to have to write a system where we manage sleeping and waking up threads ourselves, and reschedule, and then make stuff up when I run out of documentation. Exactly. We're doing a little bit of that here. Doing a little bit of inference. But thank you, Bobius, for working out, for noticing that was a callback, because I somehow missed that, and that's really important. Now, what's the current thread ID? How do we get the ID? Refer thread status? Get thread ID. That sounds like the one. That sounds like the thing to call. let's say s32 main tid equals get thread ID. Do I know HPC programming? I did a little bit of high performance programming when I was in uni because my uni had a HPC computer cluster. It's not a particularly good one, but it was okay. Got to run some Hadoop code on there, which was fun. Did some MapReduce, but not particularly, no. Let's make this an S32. I hate these type names in C. I like them in Rust, but I hate them in C. I don't know why. It's just a thing. So we do this, and then we want to say start. So start thread, exit thread. Oh, this is IOP. Hold on. I assume it's the same name in the emotion engine. EEs is good. Oh, I suspect, I have a feeling this doesn't exist here. Change thread priority, forcing a thread reschedule. So we could say, okay, rotate ready queue, rotates the threads in the given priorities linked list. Maybe we should actually be calling this. Rotate thread ready queue, release wait thread. If it's waiting, yeah, so there's going to be, oh no, get thread ID, there it is. Nice, wake up thread. This is what we want to do. So in this callback, we're going to say wake up thread ID. And it's going to yell at me about some stuff because, first off, we just need to really promise that this is the right type. Or maybe not. Okay, well let's make this a void. And then we're gonna do this. What does this cast look like? We have to cast it to an S32 and then dereference it. Wake up, set alarm, incompatible pointer type. But what does the type have to be? Oh, it has to return a... Oh, sorry, my function signature is totally wrong. Let's actually read my examples that I'm trying to copy. That's better. Wake up, we get an ID, we get a scheduled time, we get an actual time, we get an arg, we get a PC value. So we're just doing this to arg. Expected declaration specifiers, that's because I didn't put a bracket. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking. Timer.h, timer alarm.h. I think I need both of these. Timer.h, timer alarm.h. Vaguely wrong. Including the size and the type name is a better way of doing things. Well, but C already has them. It has uint32t and stuff. People prefer to type u32 instead of uint32t. Is the PS2 using 32-bit words? That's a more complicated question than you realize, but for all intents and purposes, yes. The PS2 kind of thinks in quad words, which is fun. MDS Ubuntu, thank you very much for following. Welcome to this mysterious PlayStation 2 multi-threading journey. Okay, from incompatible pointer type, 32. Expected, S32, U16, void. Sorry, so does this have... Has this type changed? Argument is of type. Oh, no, argument is of type. S32. So expected... Okay, well, let's just change it to be this. So it says U16 and then one void. If I'm reading correctly. Expected void... Expects it to return a void pointer? Or just return void? like that. Whoa, whoa, we're cooking, we're cooking. The alarm did something. It didn't do what I wanted it to, but it did something. 128-bit groups of 32-bit words. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, a lot of stuff you do on the PS2 works in quad words. But because they're called quad words, it's safe to assume a quad word, and there are 4 32-bit words in a quad word. You would assume that a word is 32 bits. So yeah. Floating point numbers are 32-bit. If you're doing 64-bit doubles on the PlayStation 2, you're going to have a pretty sad time because they're slow as shit because they're software emulated. Also, if you wanted another kettle of fish, look at how the PlayStation 2 does floats. Okay, so what is this mysterious address? 800765E8. Now, this looks wrong. This doesn't look like a real address to me. So let's do that again, except we're going to pause instead of panicking and quitting, because after 2 seconds, this kicks off. So this is calling our callback. But it looks like it's calling it like again and again and again and again and again, which isn't what we want. Now, what was this address? Bobbius, I'm going to type it in properly this time, I promise. 800765E8. Not a valid address. So that's kind of a problem, right? That's a bit of a problem. If our program counter is at something that's not a valid address, that's usually a sign that something's gone wrong. So how does this happen? Like how? Huh? What black magic has caused this to happen? Why does this have a different function signature when I try to call it? Right? If I try to compile this, does it work? Make... Oh, hold on. I need to... Do I go up here? Let's just update everything. Oh, that address is in Scratchpad RAM. You're right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. So I can map that myself back. Let's just make sure. Let's make sure that this file... I have a lot of instances of NeoVim open, apparently. Okay, there we go. EE kernel samples. Also, what time is it? Okay, I need to be gone in 2 hours. So I've got a little bit longer. Samples timer alarm. No, same function signature. Okay, so we're gonna make samples. Okay, nothing to be done for samples. Oh my gosh. Defs. I think I can actually get rid of defs. Maybe. EE kernel samples timer alarm. Oh, well, all I need to do is export PS2 SDK source equals home workspace PlayStation 2 PS2 SDK make. Make makefile dot sample. I've done something wrong here. Oh right, that's what I wanted. Okay, here we go. So PCSX2 QT PWD test alarm dot elf. There we go. So that works for some reason. Very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. L packet in LDMA. I don't know what L packet is. Let's try adding it to our makefile. Or adding it to our rule down here. So let's go. And let's put it first. L packet. Also L kernel, I guess, is probably important. Maybe. Maybe not. And it still blows up. And I don't know why this blows up like that. I have a lot of questions, right? I've got a lot of questions. Are we calling a different set alarm function? Do you know what? I bet we are. I bet... Okay, here's my theory. Here's my theory, right? Because this file, it does include kernel delete. Never mind. I take it all back. I take it all back. Timer, timer alarm. Timer, timer alarm. So, alarm CB. Well, set alarm. Ah, so this is our internal set alarm. Wait, where did that come from? Set alarm internal. This is the one that... This still returns an S32. This is still a different signature. Oh no, hold on. Void, this is the signature. This is the one, right? Void common. And takes a common. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. So for some reason, this set alarm is calling the set alarm internal directly instead of set alarm. Which should be the patched kernel version, not this version. Also not this version. This gets more baffling the longer I look at it. Ron LML2, thank you very much for following. Welcome. We're currently stuck in... I don't even know what to call this. What? How? Oh wait, set timer alarm. I'm calling a different function. That explains it. Do you know what really helps, usually, in my opinion? Reading the code that you're trying to write. There we go. Okay, now it'll work. Wait, was there an... Okay, so we're still blowing up. We're still very, very upset and angry. But we're angry at different stuff, so that's good. Okay, well that's fine, that's fine. So we build okay. rm source test thread test.elf. Let's... So we're happy building this. We're very happy building this. And then, after 2 seconds, it's like, whoa, this is the worst thing you've ever done. Also, we start this thread, and then we set a timer alarm, and then it looks like this stops running, which is also weird. Right? Why aren't we printing more things here? Oh, because we hit... Hold on. We fall straight through. We fall straight through here. Because I'm not waiting. So what I need to do is sleep thread. That's what I need to do. Ah. Okay, so we hit a null pointer, but that looks much more appropriate. That looks much more like what I want to happen when I'm doing async stuff, right? That's good. That's good news. Recompile, start PC. It looks like we've messed something up pretty bad. Would I ever use spin locks? I currently use spin locks because I don't have any multi-threading in my library. As soon as I have multi-threading in my library, I'm hoping to stop using spin locks. But yeah, spin locks are useful. Like, why not? You've got to be careful because these are green threads, so one thread could hog everything. And if it never... Well, that's not quite true either. One thread could potentially starve the system of any resources to ever schedule another thread, basically. You need to be a little bit careful. But your spin lock could be, you know, count to 100 and then call sleep thread. That would be fine. Or count to 100, test some condition, then call sleep thread. That would be allowed. It wouldn't be efficient, but it would be allowed. Okay. So. Why does this blow up so badly? Let's printf here first. Printf wake up. Do we actually get to the code that I'm running? And we got to pause before we crash, because when we crash, it's going to be bad. It's going to blow up. Or not. Okay, let's also lower this number. Hold on. Can I set this to a float, or does this have to be an int? No, it can be a float. So now it should blow up a little quicker. Hello world. Doesn't look like we ever print anything, which is not as good. Does this have to be a whole number? It's a float, but does it have to be a whole number? I think it has to be a whole number. I love it when a float isn't really a float. It says you can use a float, but you probably shouldn't. Okay, so what's all this stuff we're printing out? Is this some kind of like, it looks like a reset. Thread, no active threads. So if there are no active threads, we restart. So what I need to maybe do, maybe what I need to do, let's never sleep. Let's never end. Let's try doing it like that. Whoa. I don't know what is getting printed out here. Okay, I accidentally just printed out like a whole bunch of garbage. C source thread test. Okay. Same thing. I'm guessing it's gonna say no active threads, which is weird because that shouldn't happen. Let's do this again and let's log. Is Rust what I know and use the most? No, Golang is probably what I know and use the most. But I've done a fair bit of C as well. I like a bit of C, so let's say I equals. I probably want some other, I want some kind of marker I can search for when I think I'm done. Let's say done. Yeah, but most of my career has been Java and Go. I mess around with C for fun. I've written lots of Python. I've done lots of JavaScript and stuff. You know, you do whatever. Once you're a good programmer, main done. Once you're a good programmer, it doesn't matter as much. Okay, so we never call this. We never call this. You hate Golang's brace formatting. Do you mean like the inline else? Like what's wrong with the braces? No opinion on Go. Thought of embracing tabs feels weird. Yeah, but Go format just does it all, right? And that's cool. It's the same idea with Rust, right? Where you just let a formatter handle literally everything for you. And that's cool. The less I have to make decisions about that, the happier I am. Yeah, you just set it up. Like every time you save the file, you run Go format, and then life is good. Life is really good. Sorry, I just need to quickly check a message. Oh. Okay, we've got some exciting stuff. We've got some stuff cooking. Today. I'm meeting a friend. I'm gonna meet her a little bit early, and her workplace has a random Thai flute that she's gonna show me, which sounds fun. TJK113. Are you the TJK that I think you are, or are you a different TJK? Because I know a couple. So Brian JIDC, you're saying that you prefer this style, right? Except maybe not for functions, but if you're like this style, right? Same column. Is that what you mean? Because maybe I'm a heathen. Yeah, there are pros and cons. The one true brace style. Which one is that? Your one true brace style or my one true brace style? I can never quite remember. I can never remember which is which. I know it's not your name. It's I like calling it that. I admire the balls. Okay, so somehow we're hitting this situation where this thread's running and we're happy, and that's okay. And then when our alarm goes off, we call this function, we try and wake up the main thread, and then suddenly we don't have any threads running. And I think the reason for this might be, there might be something we're missing here. Wait, hold on. Wake up, resume. Wait, ready, re-added to active list. Resume. Wait status. No, okay. Forcing it. This should force a reschedule. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Join thread. See, that's probably maybe. It's hard. Current threads heap. See, this is probably also worth thinking about as well. Threads should probably have a heap associated with them. Using semaphores. We're gonna have to do semaphores if we want to have effective if we want this like loading thread to behave itself. Exit thread. Forcing a reschedule. What is this name? Prolinosk997. Sorry for butchering your name, and thank you for following. Welcome. Polish nickname. No, that's fine. That's fine. So is it is it a v or is it a w? Or is it it's probably not proil, right? It's probably proil, right? Am I how is my Eastern European language knowledge today? Through hit and miss. As long as you're not using Whitesmith or Horseman. I don't know Horseman off the top of my head. Not bad. Thank you, I'll take that. I will take that any day. I've never been further east than Czechia, so I'll take that any day. Cool. Okay, so here's what's happening. Here's where we're at. We have a thread, right? We have a thread, and this is our main thread. And this runs we're gonna make we make a thread called T0, okay? And then we set alarm. We'll call this A0, and then we sleep. And then we're done. And that's happy face. Everything's good. Okay? So then T0, what we do is step 1, loop forever. We never stop. We never stop. In what context did I go to East Europe? I went on a choir tour when I was 17. I went on a trip with a choir. We went through China. We went through into Germany. We drove down through Germany into Czechia. We got a plane across to Milan. Then we went down into Rome, and we sang in the Pantheon in Rome, which was kind of cool. I played flute in the Pantheon. It sounded fucking awesome. Mung Dael subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much. Welcome. And enjoy the cool emotes. Is that a church thing? The Pantheon or singing in choirs? Singing in choirs was just like a school thing we did. We sang in a lot of churches because I have a lot of churches in Europe, apparently. But no. Just like a random school choir I was in. It was pretty fun. It was a real once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Really glad I did it. Alarm A0. All Alarm A0 does, and by the way, Alarm A0 takes ID of M, gets passed in, all this does is wake up M. Now, when we call this, for some reason, all of our the system thinks we have no threads running. So what does this mean? What does this mean? How does this happen? What happens? Flag equals 0. I'm so confused. I'm so confused by this. So when this happens, here, BIOS says no threads. And maybe that's true, actually. Well, but it shouldn't be true, because this should be running, right? What happens after an alarm? In what context does an alarm run? This is my big problem right now. This is my big problem right now. Okay, so we want to go back a little bit. Kernel samples timer alarm sleep delay thread. Delay thread. So let's try doing this with delay instead of oh, sorry, let me pull the thing up. At 7 a.m. What a mysterious message. What a mysterious message. Let's try delay thread. And I guess this is in, okay, milliseconds divided by 1,000. Is that nanoseconds? Is that microseconds? I'm never sure. Instead of timer alarm, let's back off from this for a little bit. Let's say delay thread, and let's do half a second. Oh, at 7 a.m. Right. Yes. I'm with you. Okay, so hello. Okay, I'm gonna have to quit my terminal, I think. Whoa. My focus wasn't moving over. Okay, I almost just quit OBS. That would have been fun. Let's stop. Delay thread. Where does delay thread come from? It comes from delaythread.h. Obviously. Obviously it comes from delaythread.h. There we go. So that one works. That's good. That's good. It'd be nice to work out alarms, though. It would be real nice to work out alarms. Is this a system call? No, this is defined. Maybe. This uses a semaphore. Okay, so it makes a semaphore, and it sets an alarm. It sets an alarm to delay thread, wake up, callback. Exit handler. Do I have to call exit handler when I'm done? Maybe. Maybe not. What does exit handler do? What does exit handler do? Sync. Okay, so we should probably do this. Let's try doing it this way. Let's go back. But let's call exit handler this time and see if we end up in the right place. ASM undeclared. Okay, that's okay. This fucking syntax. What is this? That's a great question. So, sync is, where are we? EE core, this is what I want. Sync. Instruction routing, what physical pipelines? Sync. Sequence instruction not allowed. Sync pulls stuff into sync. synchronization with load store. It makes sure that everything in the pipeline is in a sensible state. Now, as for this, I'm not actually sure about EI. EI might be a mnemonic, and I don't know what it means. A, B, C, D. Yeah, so EI isn't a real instruction. I literally have no idea what enable interrupt. That's it. You got it. Stex, thank you. Coming in first time chat with the a huge W. Thank you. That makes so much sense. Okay, so for some reason, okay, and does anyone understand why this is, right? But this ASM syntax does not always work in C. And is this a C11 thing? Have I broken this by trying to compile with C11? I have. Okay, so it's a C11 thing. C11 broke it. And we still blow up here, which is great. Except now we're in a sensible address, so that's good. We're not in weirdo scratchpad land anymore. We can actually go to this address, right? Go to address 107 AD0. What is this? This is in memch. Huh? What? Let's put a breakpoint on this function. And then let's run. And when we break here, let's look at our call stack. What's calling you? Where are we jumping to? Where are we going here? And it's also good to know that we're breaking at the start of the function, because sometimes when you're trying to resume something, obviously, SFV write R. Yeah. Cool, that makes sense. Okay, I don't know. I don't know where that's come from. So, in conclusion, exit handler is a little bit wacky. I'm going to define my own version of this, because I want to continue using C11. So let's, what have I got to do? Bracket plus YT end of line. Okay, there we go. Oh, have to really stretch your brain sometimes when you're, oops. Huh? That's not what I copied. Plus YT end of line. Okay, hold on. Plus Y. There we go. So I think I just have to call this ASM with underscores. And maybe this is ASM, ISE. ASM block is a GNU extension, yeah. Yeah, GCC has its own syntax. That makes sense. Oh, wait, hold on. So I don't have to define this. There's another standard, right? Isn't there like GNU C11? GCC STD or GNU 11 or something? What's the list? C11. GNU 11, thank you. Perfect, beautiful. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so same issue, but it was good to know. A slightly different place. It's been placed slightly differently in memory. Well, this is good too. So we're printing some garbage to the screen. I like that. That makes me happy. And this address is incrementing, which also makes me think that maybe this is misusing I somehow. Like, why would it be incrementing like that? How mysterious. How mysterious. So, where do you go from here? It'd be really nice to get alarms working. Really, really nice. So maybe when I do this, right? Maybe instead of this, I'm gonna say, so I've got the thread ID. Let's make thread IDs. Let's say main TID and TID. We'll give it 2 thread IDs, and then we'll pass as its arg 2 thread IDs. So then we'll say S32 main TID is S30 as an array of S32s, get arg0, and then other TID this with arg1 So we'll wake up main TID, and we're gonna put to sleep the other one, which might have the same impact. Might be doubling up. Stack size multiplied or divided by some number. That's a good point. It's actually a really good point. We could just also not have a big enough stack. Okay, so I want to search. I want to grep. I should really start I need to get in the habit of doing this more from within Vim. Grep RNI EE thread T. Cool. Okay, so libthread glue EE thread. Now, is this... Well, yeah, it's an EE thread, so that's good. EE thread. And this is called stack size. Stack malloc stack size. Okay, so we know the stack size is not a multiple. Initial priority. Oh yeah, hold on. This is actually probably the problem. I forgot. Because I'm a doofus. I forgot I'm setting the GP register to null. I wonder if that could be an issue. So we've got to do something about that, right? Where does GP come from? Can I just do that? Can I just say GP? Dereferencing a void pointer. This needs an extra bracket. Oh my gosh, it is so windy outside. It's really weird. It was like 28 degrees Celsius inside my house yesterday. Here we go. This is going to work now. Frame error. What is going on? What am I resuming to? Okay, so the problem was not the GP register, but it's good to, you know, not do that stupidly. Let's also set an initial priority to something that isn't as stupid. Let's also not wake up the thread twice. Okay, unused variable, we can deal with that. Interrupt can be served without destroying the thread state, yeah. Okay, well, hold on, that didn't crash that time. That didn't crash that time, that's good. So priority 0 might have been the problem. Okay, let's, okay, so I don't know, like, this is the hard thing when there's no documentation telling you not to use priority 0. What is higher priority, lower or like I just don't know. I just don't know. Thread.log. Okay, we're just gonna let that get to like 30,000, then we're done. Main done. I equals 0. We printed that out immediately. Oh, because I'm not sleeping anymore. I need to do this. Now we're probably going to crash again, right? Oh. Yeah, so that wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem. That was part of the problem, but it was... Zero is valid. The problem was probably that I just wasn't... I don't know, waking... So here's the thing. I'm going to say... exit thread... terminate thread. Terminate thread. I'm going to kill the other thread. But I'm going to do it here first. Terminate thread other TID. I'm going to kill this thread. I don't care about this thread. And we still have all these TLB misses. Okay. Thread.log TLB miss. What's the first one? 107.141. They're all at 107.141, but look at this address, right? What's going on? Why aren't you resuming properly? Trial by fire. Thread.c. This is what happened last time I tried to do threads, because I was going to do my own networked file IO layer in my engine, and then it sucked. So I'm going to build it into this game, and then depending on how it goes into the game, I might promote it back into the engine. But I'm experimenting in a bit more of a, like, I can build a more specific version of it here. OSTT95, thank you very much for following. Welcome. And just a reminder for everyone, when I hit 1,000 followers, I'm going to do a music stream. So if you want to hear me do some singing, do some flute playing, maybe play some saxophone, you know, it's going to be fun. I might even play guitar. I can't play guitar, but I can give it a go. No, I've been practicing hard. I'm trying to learn guitar. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Okay, this is really stupid. I don't know what I'm doing, and there's not enough documentation to really help me. Thank you, Bobius, for continuing to be the you know, like ChatGPT, basically, right? He's able to go out. ChatGPT probably couldn't tell me that, because not enough people do PS2 stuff for it to learn. I am gonna go into my hyperbolic time chamber, and I'm gonna work on this off camera, because it kind of sucks. And I also have to go see my friend's mum's choir perform, which is gonna be fun. So random little way to spend a day. So I'm going to find a nice little stream for us to go on and raid. We didn't really achieve any of my goals today, unfortunately. That's okay. Did we do this? And yeah, we did this. We can check this off. We did this. We did this. Tick. Done. I love ticking stuff off. This we did not do. This we definitely didn't do. There was an intermediate step, which was run a less simple threaded example, and we failed to do that. Gotta smash my head against it until I find something, says Bobius. Exactly. They're some of my favorite problems. Alright, so I'm always happy to take a recommendation for who to raid following these streams. I am always looking for other programming streamers, people doing cool stuff that I can throw some love onto. Yeah, hopefully something weird, right? Something kind of strange. That's always what I love. People who are going to be like, wow, the UE programming language. They're in a BRB. Let's give them a second. May all your dreams come true. Godot Game Jam. That's kind of fun. Let's go. UEU is like APL. Interesting. If they weren't on a BRB, they were getting the raid instead. Let's do a Godot Game Jam. That sounds fun. I like Godot. Art looks cozy. Let's do it. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone who's been following along and putting up with me being behind on YouTube uploads. I'm very sorry. But at least this threading stuff is kind of off in its own little world. This has been a very fun and very interesting stream. Threads, man, how do they even work? But I'll come back, I'll work this out. And thank you everyone, lots of new faces in today, streamed at a bit of a different time. Thanks for all the love, thanks for all the new follows, the sub, love to see it. Alright, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time. Bye.